Hello everybody, it's the Bionic Baka here, and I'm doing a Pokemon Top 10 from Generation 1. Now we're gonna start at 10 with, well, you can read it probably, Hypno. I chose Hypno for number 10 because its Pokedex entry very creepy as it kidnaps children, and that's just interesting. Something that would be possible in a Pokemon world. It's a children's game. Just the thought of that being in it, it's weird. And it's got a whole creepypasta thing around it. And if you don't know what that is, it's basically scary stories. Now, moving on to number 9, Butterfree. I chose Butterfree for number 9 because it has almost every move that can, or has a move for almost every single status effect. Whether it be poison, sleep, confusion, anything like that, it can do it. And it would be perfect to get your opponent, off track. There's a good word for it, off track. Because while they're trying to do something else, even if they're making you constantly flinch, they're still taking damage, or they won't be able to move that time, or you get it, people. And second, I also chose Butterfree because of its shiny form. Whereas in Gen 2, where shinies actually started, even though Butterfree was Gen 1, its shiny form was black and green and white with a pink tint over it. And I just think that's really cool. And it's amazing. Though, of course, now it's more of a purplish rather than black, but moving on. We'll get the laser pointer out. Ninetales for number 8. One, I chose it because it was Babby the Beast, the Ninetales that Munching Orange nicknamed, in his Sacred Gold Nuzlocke was just amazing. It was basically invincible until the very end. And it had a great moveset. It has a great moveset. When it has Drought, it'll be able to take down any Water-type Pokemon by weakening its Water-type attacks, and be able to use Solar Beam in one hit. Now, there's other moves that also it knows that are really good, but I don't feel like going through all of them right at this moment. So, moving on to number 7, Gengar. I chose Gengar because it has 3 immunities. 3 types can't affect it whatsoever. Assuming that it has the ability to levitate, making it invulnerable, Well, it can't be damaged by fighting types, because it's a ghost type, normal types, because it's a ghost type, or ground types, because it has levitate most of the time. And 2, because of the anime appearances. In the anime, when Misty, Ash, and Brock go to, I forgot what tower, it's been a while, sorry people. There's a Gengar, Haunter, and Ghastly. They essentially kill Ash by dropping a chandelier on him, and so that he becomes a ghost, and they have someone to be with. And they also are very humorous in that episode of the anime, making faces and messing around. Got all that stuff, carnival stuff, and it's just funny as far as anime goes. And Gengar's amazing. Porygon for number 6. Porygon is an example of human ingenuity in the sense that it's the only Pokemon made by mankind. This just makes it amazing, and I think it deserves a place on any top 10. Also, it comes at a high cost. You have to work for it. You can't just go out and catch a random Porygon. Number 5, we all knew this was coming, Charmander. Charmander I chose, one, because of the reality, and as far as Pokemon goes, it has some sort of reality. Unlike every other Pokemon where it's like fire, it can go into water and just come out unscathed, basically. Charmander, if it gets wet and the tail goes on and the tail on the tip of it, the flame on the tip of its tail goes out, it will die. This makes sense because that flame goes out, that's like a life force. It makes sense. And two, the design. Think about it. A little dinosaur with flame on its tail, and that can breathe fire. Let's take a minute to think about that. Alright, that's long enough. Wartortle, number 4. Can you see a pattern with the starters here? 1 for the anime appearance. The Wartortle, actually, well, yeah. The Wartortle were like firefighters in the anime. And Ash's Squirtle actually was able to keep up with those highly trained Wartortles. 2, I chose this because of personal significance. I once was in the Friend Safari in Generation 6 Pokemon X, and I had been hunting a shiny Wartortle. Well, I get back from Universal, I go right into the car, I kind of give up, I start to walk out, one encounter, boom, a shiny Wartortle. I was amazed by this, just this one encounter, Wartortle, it was amazing. And Wartortle will forever hold a special place in my heart. Final 3. 3. Kabutops. It is a hunter Pokemon. It is just awesome. It goes around just slashing and bashing and everything. It's got those scythes, and it's over 3,000 years old. Well, I'm actually adding a little bit to this. Forget the Vampiric part, as it sucks body fluids from its prey. But 3, the Genesect, in its Pokedex entry, it is said to be made from a Pokemon that was 3,000 years old. Now, Kabutops is the only other Pokemon that mentions this 3,000 year thing. There's possibly a link between Genesect and Kabutops. And Kabutops is Gen 1, Genesect is not. So that's why he got on here instead of Genesect. Also, it's cooler having a Pokemon related to a legendary than a legendary related to another Pokemon. When you think about it. And no other fossil Pokemon is said to be exactly 3,000 years old. I'll get into more detail about that in another video. Number 2, Snorlax. It had great defense in Gen 1. It had great strength in Gen 1. And, once again I'm adding, it's a challenge to catch it. In my Nuzlocke, I caught one Snorlax in Fire Red, and then it took that Snorlax's life. To catch the other Snorlax, named Fat Albert, it killed my other Snorlax. So, that was not really worth it. Number 1, Hitmonchan. To obtain it, you have to go through a challenging gym of fighting types. And 2, design. It's like a humor, except the eye of the tiger going, and it's ready to throw a punch. Also, notice any similarities between these two. And this. Think about it. Think about it. Night, everybody.